The Merseyside derby ends in a 2-1 win for Liverpool. 5 out of 5 to start the season for the Reds. Everton, they tried to fight back hard at the end of the game. They were kind of down and out, 2-0 to start things off. And, they got a goal through Idrissa Gana Gueye. They started playing a bit more like proactively, a bit more forward thinking. They brought on some different players, and Grealish looked good, but it wasn't enough. 2-1 final score. Goals today from Ryan Gravenberch and Hugo Ekitike, as well as Idrissa Gana Gueye with the consolation goal for Everton. Honestly, Liverpool have done it again. I mean, it wasn't a last minute win, of course, this time, but all in all, you look at it, and this season has been kind of, littered with a ton of exciting goals like the Gravenberch one today, or even the Hugo Ekitike strike between Pickford's legs. But at the same time, there's these defensive frailties. There's this vulnerability at the back. It's evident, Liverpool, they could use some, it could be down to the structure of the system. And I think at this point, it very well might be, because, the goal that's scored is more or less, down to the fact that Liverpool are kind of shaky at the fullback positions right now. Not to say that there's, not players having fantastic games. I think even today, Kerkez, he played really well, even though he wasn't necessarily, in the best of positions for that goal from Idrissa Gana Gueye. Connor Bradley, honestly, he looked a little sloppier than Kerkez. And it's one of those things where throughout a game, throughout a season, as this team develops more and more under Arne Slot and gets to know each other at a more, kind of cohesive level, we'll see less and less games like that. All in all, Liverpool, I think they had a great game. I think Ryan Gravenberch very, very rightfully deserves the man of the match with a goal and assist for him. He scored his second in the Premier League today, and it was a hell of a goal if you haven't seen it. Very, very technically brilliant strike, honestly. Just kind of latched it at the perfect moment. And all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this game went for Liverpool. For Everton, Iliman Ndiaye, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He played fantastic, as well as Jack Grealish on the flanks. I think Everton have a lot of talent that could kind of help them throughout this season. Even Tyler Dibling coming off the bench later. We'll see how they fare. I think they'll finish probably somewhere higher than last season with how they started the season. But defensively, you know how they are. They're really good. They're strong at the back. They get their clearances. For me, moving forward in the next few games for Liverpool, I mean, they have Southampton at home, and is this the league or is this just like a cup game? Yeah, it's an EFL Cup game at home on Tuesday. And then after that, Palace in the league away from home, Galatasaray in Champions League away from home, Chelsea away from home, and then United at home. So it's a kind of raucous 5 games for Liverpool there. Besides the Southampton one, I think all of those are very, very kind of tense games that Liverpool have to be at their very best for. Wolves away from home is Everton's next fixture, followed by West Ham at home, Palace at home, City away, and Tottenham at home before their 6th game, which is a match to the Stadium of Light against Sunderland. Honestly, not like the easiest run-in for Everton, but I could see them getting some points probably against West Ham, maybe against Palace, who, funnily enough, are playing right now as I'm recording this video. But for me, Liverpool, they started the season about as great as they could have. Won every game, off to, a pretty exciting start with all the late finishes. But like I said, it's in like the back of my head, this defensive just weakness, at the back. There's just moments that happen where Liverpool, the concentration lapses. They, a player gets beat in a certain position, a cross gets sent in or something, and then boom, it's a goal. It's happened a few times this season, so I think it's just who they are at this point, and that's fine so long as they're outscoring. But that is a volatile kind of, usually unsustainable kind of approach to the game and methodology. And I imagine Arne Slot is very well aware of that. You're always, even in a derby like today, you could try and get the clean sheet, but as the season is going on, even at the start, like different points of the season provide different amounts of pressure. Like at the start of the season, Everton, they're flying high. They're obviously going to be up for it. They didn't, get a point. They didn't win, but they didn't make, they didn't make it easy for Liverpool at times. There was definitely moments where Everton were applying pressure. They got that goal, and then they were really kind of trying to get that second. And those kind of games, you have to be ready for. I think as far as Liverpool, their performance this season so far. Want to go look back? Yeah, so 2-1 win today, 3-2 against Atletico Madrid. The last minute winner against Burnley. The 83rd, 84th minute free kick from Szoboszlai, the Rio goal, and then the 4-2 win against Bournemouth at the start. There's not a game there where I'm like, Liverpool have, exceeded expectations to such an extent in terms of, you expect Liverpool to be the favorites in most of these games. So when they are down or they do lose that lead, like, I won't lie, I'm always hopeful that they'll score, but at a certain point, you're like, this luck will run out. So I would like to see a bit more, like, kind of 2-0, 3-0 victories from Liverpool. Maybe they're coming, maybe they're on the horizon. But against a team like Everton, 2-1 isn't something you can really complain about. Same goes with the Atletico Madrid game, or Burnley away, or Arsenal at home, Newcastle away. Like, the only one that I really think like is like kind of like a blotchy kind of like, that shouldn't have happened, was the Bournemouth game, because 4-2, Semenyo played incredible. Credit to him, one of the most exciting players in the Premier League. So obviously he would. But for me, I just want to see more clean sheets in the league. It would, I imagine it would just bring like a certain level to the defense and midfield in terms of confidence. Not even like even if the performances aren't great, but they're getting those clean sheets, like it could just elevate their level. I think they could kind of get more inspired to perform better. But all in all, I feel like I'm rambling about Liverpool. Everton, though, still exciting. After this match, they end up in 8th place on 7 points after 5 matches played. 8th place, not terrible. 7 points after 5 games, not the best, but not terrible. There's a lot of teams that are below them in terms of, and this could shift after this weekend, because you have the likes of City and Newcastle below them, Fulham and Brentford as well, that could potentially leapfrog them, even United. But United would take, goal difference swing, like a substantial one. But all points aside, Everton, I think they're in a place where they're probably content. They'll be maybe upset that they didn't get a second today, in terms of, after you get that first, they're kind of like expecting to, because, everyone has come back against Liverpool to some extent before losing, besides Burnley and Arsenal. I think they would have really wanted to get that as like kind of a stamp for the first 5 games, to be like, wow, this is the level we could get to. We could get a point away from home at Anfield in the Merseyside derby. They'd be on 8 points, kind of hovering around Chelsea at that point, and they'd feel pretty confident going forward, I think. Still, I think they are, because they started so well. But I will be live for Manchester United versus Chelsea, which is going to be in a couple of hours. Hope you guys are enjoying the Premier League's start to the season so far. I know I am. Comment down below with your thoughts on the Merseyside derby, on Liverpool, on Everton. Any thoughts really in the Premier League or in footy world. Let me know what you thought of the game. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'm Sideline Sedo. Peace.